Hey, good morning, everybody. So we're sitting down here with Erick, and Erick moved to Pedasí about a year ago, and I asked Erick to come in and tell us a little bit about his experience, so that it'll help you guys make your decisions better. So Erick agreed to come in and have a talk this morning, and as you can see, he's not super comfortable in front of the camera, but he'll relax as we go, and he'll forget the camera's there. Just look at me, Erick, and we'll go from there, okay? So a little bit of background about you, if you don't mind. We won't get too personal, don't worry, but where did you move from before you moved into Pedasí?
Washington State, from the U.S., the northeast corner,
Okay.
up in the mountains and the snow country.
So you were living in kind of a rural area before you came
Very
here.
rural,
Yeah.
yes.
So the transition into this type of a rural area from where you were, did you find it difficult at all? Or?
No, not rural area at all, no.
Okay.
We're not city people.
Okay.
So this was perfect for us.
Okay. So I had said you've been here about a year. What's your actual length that you've been in Panama? You've been in Pedasí for about a year now. How long have you been in Panama for?
May 17th.
May 17th
of a year.
Of 2024.
Yep.
Okay, perfect. So,
yep.
So what did you do in your previous life before you came here?
Facilities maintenance at airports.
Okay.
Construction, industrial, commercial.
Okay.
A little bit of horticulture background.
Okay. So yeah, Washington and horticulture. I'm not going to ask too many more questions about that.
Not there.
And now, are you still working, or are you fully retired?
Fully retired for 4 years.
Okay. So the big question here, and we'll get into a lot more details, but the big question is, when you came to Panama and you had all the options of everywhere to live, what made you choose Pedasí over everywhere else?
Well, our original intent was to go to the mountains. We liked the cooler weather. We really had fallen in love with Santa Fe. Unfortunately, there is not a lot of housing there. It's very difficult to find housing. So we decided to spend some time Airbnbs, check it out. We spent 2 weeks in Altos del Maria, and my wife found it too dark and damp. It was rainy season, and she hated the roads. They're narrow, there's no shoulder, there's no guardrail, and we found some areas that the roads were steep, paved roads that were way steeper than anything I'd ever seen in my life.
Okay. And you come from the mountains. So.
And we came from the mountains.
Okay, so that being in consideration, then what prompted then Pedasí over those?
Well, we started just looking for a place to rent, and we found a place here in Pedasí, and came down to look at it, and we fell in just the drive from Las Tablas to Pedasí. We just fell in love with the rolling hills and the greenery and the cows and the open rural stuff. And we got here, we really liked the town.
As soon as you pulled in?
As soon as we pulled in.
Okay.
We didn't really meet too many people right away. Right then and there, we signed a lease and moved down 2 weeks later. But as soon as we were here, we fell in love with the people. They were very friendly, open. As long as you attempted Spanish, they were
smiley, eh?
Yeah. Just, and would help you, when you were struggling with it. They would very friendly and very helpful. And they're just an amazing, easygoing, beautiful people here.
Awesome. So backing up a little bit, before you came to Panama, before you settled on Pedasí, what sparked your guys' desire to move abroad?
We kind of wanted something new. Property taxes where we were had gotten so bad. We'd looked at different states in the U.S. and couldn't find what we want. And we had seen an article about the 10 best places to retire, 10 best countries. I really liked Malta, but it's so far away.
Okay.
But it was a hop skip to Italy, and but it was kind of far.
Okay.
But so we kind of looked at Panama, and I did a whole ton of research Just really dove deep into what it was like and what was there and the pros and cons and everything. And we said, well, let's go down and spend 3 weeks and check it out.
So for you guys, over all the other countries in the world, like Malta and all these other places, what really narrowed it down to Panama for you guys?
Cost of living, the healthcare seemed good. The friendliness, the ease of being able to get residency, how they welcomed the American,
Especially the retirement visa options,
the
or
retirement, and how they welcomed people instead of making it really hard. The beautiful country, just the variety of what's here.
Okay. Did you guys know anybody in Panama before you came, or
Sure didn't.
No, nobody.
Not a single soul.
Me neither. Absolutely, me neither. Okay. So you had homes and property and family and everything else back home. What was the final push for you in your life to say, we're going to do this and we're going to move to Panama? What made you the final boom, we're doing this?
There were a few things. Property taxes were going up tremendously every year. We lived in an area that had forest fires every year that were getting scarier and scarier. The forests are dying, and so that makes them tinderbox. And living on 21 acres in forest with nothing but forest around you, it gets real scary.
Right.
That and just some of the other things that were happening in the U.S.
Okay.
Just said, you know what? Let's go try something different.
So you find that you're less anxious, less stressed about all those things, environmental, political, all that stuff being here. That stuff's not on your mind.
My stress level is definitely much less here.
Fair enough. Okay, so before you came, before you did stuff, how much planning and preparation did you do before packing your bags and coming here?
A tremendous amount. First, we decided to do it. We found a good immigration lawyer in Panama City. So we got all that stuff together, talked with them, flew down for a week and started our residency, got our temporary. Then it was, the moving moving. I've moved, a couple 100 miles before. Moving a couple thousand is a whole different. Just trying to get the logistics together. We brought 2 dogs down with us that turned out one of them we could fly down, but it would have to be on a cargo plane, and they couldn't tell us what day they could do it. And one of us would have been in Florida. One of us had to have been in Panama, and it was just got to be stressful. And I found a company. Can I say the company's name?
Yeah, sure.
Pero Air.
Okay.
And that's what they specialize in setting up charter flights for people with animals, and they were fantastic. It was expensive.
So looking back out of the whole preparation, the whole experience, what was the hardest part for you guys? The dogs, or?
The dogs were very stressful because we ended up driving 2 cars and 3 dogs down from Washington State to Florida. And our big 200-pound English Mastiff went to live with a good friend with ours because she would have never made the flight, let alone too hot for her. It would have been too hard. So she living down there in Arkansas. But then just that whole thing, got to Florida, turned out I almost, with the USDA and the dogs, I got to Florida, the Panamanian consulate said, oh, you can't do that here because it was started in Washington, so you have to go to LA. And I'm like, my flight's in 3 days? No. So they were very kind and made a phone call and were able to do it for me.
Right.
That was very stressful. The moving everything down was a little bit stressful. especially at the when I got here because of problems.
I remember. I was part of that with you guys. I remember.
There was some. I don't get upset very often, but there was some tense moments on that. But other than that, that all went fairly easy. It was just, just the logistics of everything, of selling a house and packing everything, and packing twice because it went into store. Most of our stuff went into storage until we found a place to permanently live down here. And then I had to fly back up, get it into a container and stuff. It was just, I'm fairly organized, so it wasn't too bad of everything, but boy.
What would you do different to alleviate all those stress, looking back now and to give other people advice? What was there anything that you would change on all that if you had to do it again?
I don't know if I would have changed anything. Well, if I would have been a little more, could my USDA be used in Florida instead of the West Coast? I mean, how do you even think about? They just say go to a consulate.
Right.
So if anybody, does a dog, know that wherever you start the thing with the vet and where you finally fly, you might want to look at that very carefully.
Right.
The move part, it was just the shipper, why they took the container to Cologne and paid to have it go through the canal. That's all. That makes you wonder, but they told me it was going to Panama City. So
right. Looking back on your deciding factors to come here, how much did financial things factor into the decision to come here? Stuff like cost of living, things like that. How much did that influence you guys?
That was a big influence and we did a lot of research of what's food cost down there, what's housing cost, what's medical cost. You can, but getting medical insurance down here is difficult. You have to do international. If you're over 70, good luck. You're not getting it. But yeah, it was a huge cost. We save money. We're spending less down here. Overall, there are things. Electricity is expensive down here. If you want to run an AC, you better have a backup generator because you lose power a lot, and be expecting things like that. It happens where we are. It happened when the first 2 months we were there. It was every other day, every third day, we'd lose it for 6-8 hours or more.
Has that leveled out now, or?
It is. They're on their third transformer, and yes, the power company has got it figured out.
Okay. But they're actively dealing with it. That's the thing.
Yeah, it took them about 2+ months, but we've had some problems on that spur of that power line, but in general, I think Panama loses power.
What do you think in general from a cost of living? What do you think that you're on a percentage scale from back home to here? What do you think the differences are?
Probably, I'm going to say we're saving about 20%.
Okay.
I don't do the finances.
No, but in general, from a feelings point of view.
Yeah, I'm going to say about 20% on everything.
Okay.
We've had some big expenses coming down here that we didn't expect, but
Yeah, getting here, you mean? Yeah.
Well, not just but
being here.
Being here, and the whole thing with now that when you move, if you don't notify immigration within 1 month, it's a $100 per person fine, and just going through that cost us almost $500.
Right.
Just because we had a specialist that deals with that.
Right.
And it threw her for some loops, and she had already done a couple. When we did ours, they changed the rules in a week. Yeah.
And that's how it works sometimes in Panama. They change the rules fast here is what happens, unfortunately, Yeah. What about things like culture, language, things like that? How have you adjusted, and how has that affected your life being in Pedasí?
The language, I'm having trouble because I don't seem to be retaining it. I study it on Duolingo. I may change over to Babbel because I hear that's a different learning style, which may suit me better. But my wife's doing much better than I am.
Mm-hmm.
But languages can be a barrier.
Right.
And you better...
How do you overcome that? How do you overcome the struggle you have with that in your daily life?
Well, use Google Translate a lot.
Okay.
Or when it comes to important things like with the government, I hire somebody to, even if I was good, I think I would still hire somebody that's very proficient in both languages.
Right. What about food? Has that affected? For some people it's important, for other people it's not. How do you find the food situation?
It's a very different food here. Their steaks are different. People tell me, well, their meat isn't as tasty. Well, it's because it doesn't have as much fat. It's a different flavor, and it's tougher. I'm learning to deal with that. Rice and beans. I like a lot of rice and beans, but I like it. I know a lot of people have problems with it, and if it really important, like my little sister's a foodie, I don't think she would last out here. Yeah. But I like all kinds, and I do find that it's an international country. Mm-hmm. You get out of, even in town, you'll find Italian, and you'll find other cultural foods that you get restaurants you can go to. But yeah, it's the food has been a thing. The culture here, I love it. Yeah, I love the history. I love how they have festivals to embrace their culture and honor their culture.
Do you participate in do you go out and watch the festivals a lot?
I've been to two. I want to go more. I just haven't had the time or other reasons. But yeah, that's in my next year. I plan on wanting to do more and more. Yeah.
A lot of times I tell people the very first year is all about settling in and getting your life in order. And then after that, you kind of hit your stride. And that I talk a lot of that with people. Right. But that first 6 months is really setting up life. That first year is really about getting stuff together. And then after that, you hit your stride.
Oh, yeah. And I think we will.
What's the biggest surprises that you can think of from what you guys thought it was going to be to what it actually is?
I don't know. It pretty much was what I thought it was going to be. Okay. Like, my wife, I think she thought that would be more, I don't know. Not really sure what she would. Okay. It's been a lot more. It's a lot more laid back than I really thought it would be.
Is that good or bad?
It can be both. Okay. Mañana does not mean tomorrow. Mañana could be a month later. Uh-huh. And you have to embrace that and understand it. Otherwise, it'll drive you crazy.
Right. Good advice.
Yeah. Good advice. I have people down here I know that it drives them absolutely crazy. They get jittery, and it's like, chill. It's just the way it is. You're not going to change it. Mm-hmm. And it's just the way it is. Nobody's in a hurry, and that's what I find I like. Yeah. It's not the hustle bustle of the city life. People are just, you see people sitting on their porches in the afternoons and evenings and talking with their neighbors and stuff, and that you don't, I didn't see that back in the U.S. I'm sure it happens in certain places, but for the majority, no.
Okay. Looking back, because you're hitting your year mark, or you just hit your year mark, looking back to your first few months here, how difficult did you find settling in those first few months, or what were the biggest challenges?
Realizing that things didn't happen fast, that it was much more laid back than what we were even used to in Washington State. that, just realizing you don't get the foods, you can't find the foods in the grocery store that you were used to. Though Super Pedasí does a pretty good job of stocking stuff. Missing some of the things that we had in the U.S. The foods, being able to go to Taco Tuesday. You know, it's Taco Tuesday.
You got to do that one at home.
Yeah. We do. We do our own Taco Tuesday. Things like that. You know, like I said, the restaurants are different. The food. Dealing with the banks. Dealing with the government. They like their paperwork here. They really like their paperwork, and the T's better be crossed and the I's dotted. We've run into many problems of that, to where we've gone through several layers and get to the final end, and the person at the very beginning messed up something, and so you have to go back and start over again and do that. We had that with our driver's license. We had that when we changed address with immigration. Had that when we bought our car.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You know, it's just you got to realize that's the way it is. You can't get upset.
How has living here now, how has it influenced or changed who you are?
Oh, I'm very much more relaxed, easygoing, enjoying life. At home, it was always go, go, go. Had to get this done, had to get that done. I was building a house and had to get, always the pressure to get this done and that done. At work was always major pressures. There's none here.
I can see it in your face.
Yeah.
From when I first met you to now, I can see it in your face.
Yeah.
From when you guys came to now, and now you've decided to stay, obviously. You bought a house, you guys have settled in. From when you first got here to now, has your reason for staying, has that changed at all?
No, I think we're here. We came for a reason, and none of that has changed. It's reinforced why we came. Mm-hmm. Everything's, I think, better than what we expected. Once we got everything settled down,
Yep.
There's some things that you got to realize you're not going to change, and getting upset about it is, the power goes out. Well, if, my propane bottle lasts 12 hours and it costs me $92 to fill it. So,
yeah,
it's just part of what it is. But we have a routine down here that we pretty much got into. I go to breakfast with my neighbors at Cuckoo Crazies on Friday mornings, and then do Friday market. And, there's some wonderful vendors down there with some good food. Friday afternoon, Wednesday, well, I don't go on Wednesdays, but Wednesday afternoon and Friday afternoons, people go down to the cantina at Arnold, have a couple beers. Where can you get dollar beers?
Yeah.
I mean, you can buy a round for a table, and it's cheaper than one beer.
I feel like the big man on campus.
Yeah. But, or sit on the beach at a cantina right on the beach with some good people, and,
Mm-hmm.
chit chat and spend a couple hours and just have a good time.
How do you feel living abroad? Not just living in Pedasí, not just living in Panama, but living abroad outside the U.S. How has that changed your perspective and your identity over the last year?
My perspective is, I think everybody in any country needs to travel abroad to see what the rest of the world is like and get a better idea, not just what the media tells you. It's changed. It's opened my view of the world. I feel I'm a better person because I now understand things a lot more.
Okay, that's awesome. That's great to hear. Really,
Yeah.
That's amazing to hear. Life in Panama. What is your favorite? If you had to have a list of the top 10, what would be at the number one of that top 10 about what's your favorite thing about life in Panama?
The culture and how they embrace it. Just how they celebrate, and they have tons of celebration. They stop everything. They dress up in these beautiful costumes, the original costumes. They dance, they sing, the music. They just have a good time.
Yeah, priorities are different, eh?
Yeah, exactly. Their priorities are way different than what I was used to.
Even though you've been here, life settled in, you're hitting your stride now. What do you think are some of your still biggest challenges as an expat, as a foreigner living here? What are some of your biggest challenges even now?
The language.
Okay.
And just dealing with the government. I think we've pretty much hopefully we've got all that worked out, though we have to do move the car registration over here from Panama City. So that's going to be a big challenge. But I think just, dealing with the paperwork and that stuff, and the language.
Okay. So here's the big question. If you had to do it all over again tomorrow, would you?
Yes.
In the same way?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I did a lot of research of this move, and, I had a whole notebook with dividers and, for every little aspect, and took tons of notes, and a lot of things I didn't believe anything anybody says on the internet. So I would research them and find out from the
horse's mouth. Yeah.
Horse's mouth what we needed to know. But would I change anything? No.
Okay.
No. I think it went fairly smooth. It had a few hiccups, but you're gonna have that when you're doing such a tremendous move. And would I do it again? In a heartbeat.
Is there anything else you'd like to add? Tell people that are considering coming here, advice you'd like to, give unsolicited advice to people that are thinking about coming to Pedasí?
Really, really do your homework. Don't ask questions to a group. Maybe little things, but do the research of what it's like. And don't just jump in. Come and visit the country, visit different areas. First time we came down here, we spent 3 weeks and drove around the Pacific side, hit key areas that we thought after doing research, which we might like. There were places that, Boquete. We thought, we'd love there. First day we were there. No, we did not like it. It was, if you like cities and crowded, and it seemed pretentious to us. I'm not, not knocking them.
Yeah.
People,
Just not for you. Yeah.
Yeah. And some people really like that kind of living. It just was not our style. Like I said,
get boots on ground and come then. That's how you
boots on. Do the research yourself. Do the research first, and then come down and make sure. The more time you spend, the more, the people come down for 4 days. Well, that's not enough time. 3 weeks really wasn't enough time. But,
right. Well, Eric, thanks for coming in and sharing your experience.
Thank you.
For people, because I think this is going to help people with that research. So
right.
I really appreciate you coming in and sharing your experience. And, and you've been here long enough now that, I think you can speak with some authority on your experience anyways.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the whole goal of this, is to help people in their research and to help people make their decisions.
Oh, yeah. We thought the beach would be too hot for us and we wouldn't like it. Turns out we love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Turns out we love it.
Amazing. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.